Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, here we are again, special session to do the budget. I think back to the last time we did a budget, which was my first time. This is now my second. And what were we doing then? It was the middle of the night. We had just done an all-nighter because we were debating such things that are so critical to our state as what the new state element will be. Titanium, fabulous. That's what we debated last time. And what did we do this time? This time we debated right through the regular session and had to come to special session because we can't get our house in order. The people of this state are laughing at us, and for good reason. Why can't we put a decent budget together on time? We have smart people in this room. There's smart people upstairs. How come we can't put together a reasonable budget on time that the people of this state can rely on? It makes no sense. And the people in the district of every one of the representatives in this chamber knows it. I don't know if anybody in this chamber has talked to their constituents. I certainly have. And they look at me and they say, what the heck are you guys doing up there? They run businesses. They have to put together a reasonable budget that's responsible, that doesn't spend more than they can get in, that projects a reasonable amount of money coming in based on reasonable projections. And they ask me, well, why the heck can't the legislature do that? They have to put their budget in on time so they know how much money they're going to have. They can spend their money at the appropriate times. If this legislature was in the private sector and we handled private money the way we handle taxpayer money, we would all be in prison. This is not the way to run a state. Look at the newspapers. There are businesses fleeing. There are people fleeing this state because they need some stability in their budgeting. They need to know how much they're going to get. They need to know what the taxes are going to be from year to year. Businesses budget out 2, 3, 4, 5 years. But what we do is we try to stick a piece of chewing gum in a hole at the last minute and hope that the dam doesn't burst. Here we are, we're doing our budget on emergency certification again. Emergency certification. We knew this budget, we knew we had a budget due for an awful long time. Why couldn't we do it on time? Our municipalities, my municipalities, I'm sure your municipalities, they already had their budgets together. They need to know how much ECS funding they're going to get, how much municipal aid they're going to get, because they have to plan. We are driving these people crazy for no reason. The Republicans put forth months ago a responsible, forward-looking budget looking forward 5 years. 5 years. Businesses need to have some clue as to what's going to happen in the next few years. They need to know what the taxes are going to be approximately. They need to know approximately what it's going to cost to hire an employee. When everything changes every couple of months, they have no way to know what they're in for. How are they going to hire anybody in this state when there's no way to know what that employee is going to cost them from year to year or even month to month with all the changes that we make on a practically daily basis? There are plenty of other states in this country that put forth timely, responsible budgets. Why don't we do that? People are claiming that this budget has no tax increases. Oh, that's great. But what does it do? It maintains the regulations, and it maintains the structures on our municipalities, and it takes money from the municipalities, and then it doesn't give them what they were promised. So what does it force? It forces the municipalities to raise taxes. So we can't say there's no tax increases in this budget. There's plenty of tax increases in this budget. They're just backdoor tax increases. Mr. Speaker, businesses and individuals are fleeing this state because of the policies that the people in this chamber are putting together. And it really, a responsible budget with responsible structural changes that allow for budgets in the near future and in the next outgoing years to be predictable is what we need. This budget doesn't have it. The amendments that the Republicans are trying to have on this budget do just that. They make structural changes because, you know, I've got a friend who he comes up to me and he's laughing. He's got bets with his friends as to how long it's going to be before we're back in this chamber fixing the budget that we're creating right now. He had the same bet the last time around. He bet 4 months. I think he won, but I think it was actually less than that, as I recall. I think we were back in 3 months. And we were back again. And after this budget, we're going to be back again and again and again. And we're going to keep having to come to special session and keep having to stick more chewing gum into the hole, praying that the dam is not going to burst. That is no way to run a state. That is no way to treat our municipalities and our residents and the businesses of this state. Mr. Speaker, I'm sorry, this budget that is being presented on an emergency basis at the last minute, that we only got a couple days ago, and the people of the state have not had a real opportunity to realize, to analyze, and to figure out what's in it, it is not a good budget. It is not a good budget. It is not a timely budget. It is not a responsible budget. And I encourage you all to go and talk to the people of your districts. Ask them if they think this is a good budget. Ask them if they think that this chamber has been responsible with their money. I can tell you the people in my district have told me that their money is not being well spent by the people in this chamber. And Mr. Speaker, I encourage my colleagues to vote against this budget, and I encourage my colleagues on the other side of the aisle to vote against it as well. You know that this isn't a good budget, and you know when you go back to your constituents, they're going to tell you the same thing. And ask them, are we doing right by the people of your district? Ask them. And ask them how long they think it'll be before we're back in this chamber trying to stick another piece of chewing gum in another hole. Mr. Speaker, I encourage everyone in this chamber to vote against this budget, and I intend to do the same. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.